So I want to talk to you today about the power of self-belief. And I want to invite you to start recognizing it not as the power of what we're able to achieve by what we believe we can, but what we doubt. Because self-belief is an equation. And the belief is the comfort of who we are, but the doubt is what holds the power of the capabilities we can become. And if doubt is really the thing we need to overcome in order to succeed, then we need a tool to use so that we can rise up to meet it when we have the opportunity. And I think of these opportunities to meet doubt as these series of little leaps. And I'm going to talk to you for a moment about a little leap of mine. And I'm going to offer a mantra that you can use going forward that may help you when you meet doubt in order to proceed. So in the spring, my friend Joe has a company, Get Living, and he took us on a trip that he calls an experience. And these experiences are 3 to 5 day adventures where you're basically asked to break down your mental boundaries by pushing yourself past your physical capabilities. And I'll give you an example. He gave us our workbook, and one day he asked us to fill out all of our self-limiting beliefs, all of our doubts, and all of our fears. And on the other side of the page, he asked us to explain what would happen if we ever had the courage to come face to face of those fears or to defy those doubts. And what the worst possible scenario would be if we did that. And then he had us jump out of a plane. So talk about a leap. And when you think about the worst possible outcome of jumping out of a plane, or the worst possible scenario, it's death. So all of a sudden, we had a different way of looking at things. And if you've never jumped out of a plane, then there's nothing you can do to prepare yourself for the mental and physical and emotional fear that you're about to face. And I actually didn't have that in the beginning. And as we started going up in the plane, I felt actually fine. And then I realized there was nothing I could do to back out of this moment. And I started getting upset about a few different things. One, I had a newfound fear of death. 2, I couldn't comprehend what this feeling was going to be. I had no realm of comparing it. I had no comprehension. I had never experienced anything like it before. So the uncertainty of not knowing what falling would feel like was really freaking me out. And I tried to convince myself that maybe it would just feel like floating. That didn't seem as scary. And the third thing I was having an issue with was trusting that while we were reaching elevation and my tandem partner was strapping me in, as if he used all the belts and buckles right. Because all I could think was if I jump and I'm not strapped to this guy, he's the only thing attached to the tiny piece of cloth that separates me between life and death. So as we approach the landing to jump, he is scooching us further and further, or closer and closer to the door, and I'm watching my friends disappear in the wind. And I ask him, or he asks me, "Are you ready?" And I ask him, "Am I strapped in?" And because of the helmet and the wind, he must have heard something different. "Are we going to land?" Because his response to me is, "Don't worry, landing's 100% guaranteed." And that's the last thing I hear is your body's plummeting to the earth at 150 miles per hour for 60 seconds. And when you're in that moment, there's nothing you can do but receive it. And when we land, because we do, and we will, no matter what we face, we'll come out on the other side of it. Everything was relative in that moment. That list that we had made before we went up in the plane seemed really silly. And it's that series of little leaps, and with the exception of a vertical drop out of a plane, I think of them more as concentric circles. And every time we met with self-doubt, and we rise up to meet it, and we keep that in mind, that no matter what happens or where we land, landing's guaranteed. And we may miss or make the mark, but no matter where we land, we've already stretched our mind in that new direction. And now all of a sudden, we've started collecting the confidence and the courage and all of the other pieces that build the empire of our self-belief so that our comfort level can start to gain traction and our doubts are starting to be diminished. But no matter what we do with our doubts, we never want to be complete without them, because they are truly the thing that gets us to reach out further and jump out and onwards and upwards. And what I would say is maybe not invite you to jump out of a plane today or tomorrow, but to pick that thing to you that feels that scary. Because we all have something that is waiting there that we're scared to face. And it's because of the uncertainty of not knowing what to expect, and it's because of the fear, and it's because of the doubt. And if we can push past that, just remember that no matter what your leap is, landing's 100% guaranteed. Thank you.